So welcome everybody. The purpose of today's session is simply to answer any questions that you may have with regards to the the PLM portal web-based application form. So we went live with the nationally authorized products in the web-based form last week, Monday, on the 14th of October. We had a training session on Thursday, the 17th. You can already find the slides for that training session from the event page. And I believe they also linked into the PLM portal. We'll also publish the slides and the recording on the eSubmissions website. We're hoping that the recording from the training session will become available today on the events page. So then for the session today, so please feel free to ask any questions that you may have. If there are questions on the Slido that you already want to know the answer, or a similar question that you have, please just upvote those questions, and the most upvoted questions will be answered first. So that's why we're really here. Answer any of the questions. We don't have any particular presentation for today. So maybe before we get fully started, I would just like to remind everybody, now that the non-centrally authorized products are available in the PLM portal eAF, we very, very strongly invite all users to start going to the system. So register to use the system, start playing around in the production environment. So basically start filling in the forms for your products. Of course, we have said that the NCAs are not ready yet to start receiving these forms, and we're also working on changes that will be in place from 1st of January with the new variation regulation, which is another reason why we are not yet allowing the web-based form to be sent to the NCAs. However, you can already play around in there. You can create your forms. You can gather any list of issues that you might have, then discuss those issues with your colleagues, share them with your industry associations, and then send them to us via email. So everybody is very warmly invited to start using the system already. And of course, you can already send EMA any application forms that contain just centrally authorized products, or also for the mixed CAP-NAP work sharing applications. But let's start with the questions.
Okay, so we have first most upvoted question is for UK, will still the interactive PDF work?
We are not currently making any other changes to the interactive PDF apart from reflecting the new variation regulation. So apart from some changes related to business rules for supergroupings or mandatory work sharings, we are not making changes. So the interactive PDF eAF will still be available until the end of the transitional period, until we move to mandatory use of the PLM portal web eAF. That form will still be available. Of course, as the UK has left EU, and there is no particular cooperation between the MHRA and the European Medicines Agency. We're not reflecting any particular UK or MHRA requirements in the interactive PDF, but I understand that it is still being used by MHRA. But I hope they will communicate on that application form aspects.
Thank you very much. So second question is for our CAPS product. We see duplicate medicinal product entries in the eAF form. How should we select the correct one, and what happens if we choose the wrong entry? Could this cause incorrect data in FHIR or, in FHIR XML?
Yes, so this is actually a known issue. We are hoping that Monday, the 28th, we have a production deployment where we are implementing a fix to an issue, what we call nullified products. It depends if your product that has the duplicate medicinal product is one of these products that have this entry that has been nullified in the backend, but in the form you would see both as active. We have other issues with duplications. So if you have an issue like this and you're not able to identify which one is the correct one and which one is the duplicate, it might help to compare the packages under the medicinal product to see which one is actually the correct one. We know that there are some products where there are the packages have been moved under a different medicinal product, but the old nullified is still available. We're deploying a fix to this issue on Monday evening. If you are experiencing this issue, it's not fixed by Monday, please contact us. Raise a service desk ticket, ideally with screenshots, maybe put even the variation form ID into the ticket. So this will help us to investigate the case and we can then see what has happened there.
Thank you very much. So next question is, do you have any idea of a timeline? When will it be possible and mandatory to use the PLM eAF for non-caps?
So this is a question that we get asked a lot. Maybe
I can share the
yes,
timeline.
let's put up the timeline. So of course, we are working in an agile manner. We are now we have all the non-centrally authorized products available in the system. From 1st of January, the intention is that we strongly recommend the use of this web-based form for all products. So this includes the non-centrally authorized products. Of course, strongly recommended is not mandatory. So we are still working on a number of changes and fixes that we must implement either in the eAF application itself or other related systems. So there are quite a few data fixes going on the PMS side. There are issues that are affecting, for example, how organizations appear in the PLM portal eAF, but also in the other PLM portal products. So it could be that the products that you have are actually affiliated to different lock ID or org ID, and you can't access the products. We have some issues where we need to have a platform level fixes before we can move into what we call the user acceptance testing, which is not really a user acceptance testing in a traditional sense. It is a kind of, let's say, a final confirmation that the web-based form contains all the features that are needed so that we can start the transitional period. And of course, we would like to find out these issues before we do the UAT. The UAT is just final confirmation. Hopefully we don't find anything and we can start the transitional period after the user acceptance testing. Unfortunately, at this point of time, I'm not able to give an exact date, even for the UAT. We don't know how many issues will be found by users now during this exploratory period, which will last until end of this year, where we're inviting all non-cap users and of course all cap users to use the system as much as you can, play around, do the most complicated scenario that is of course realistic that you might need to submit to us, even if you today still decide to use the interactive PDF. Please provide us feedback on that, and we can then prioritize any changes that are needed for the first quarter of next year. And then during the UAT, we will receive as little feedback as possible, and then we will be able to start the UAT hopefully in Q2 next year, but I cannot confirm that date yet. And then after the 6 months transitional period, we will move to mandatory use. But the dates are still open, so we know exactly what we need to do before we're ready. We just don't know when we will be doing it.
Thank you, Christina. So I'll go back to the slideshow. So next question is, the length of the national phase following an MRP DCP varies greatly and can take a year or more prior to approval. Nevertheless, variations with these products must be possible. What is the plan to get these products into PMS?
Good question. And Veronica can also help us with this. Maybe, Veronica, you want to
I can
ask?
take over, no worries,
Thank
Christina.
you.
So, colleagues, as of January next year, so January 2025, MAHs who are owners of these products, they can submit already to XVMPD any pending products. So there will be a specific status, authorization status to be entered and selected in XVMPD for MRP DCP. And with that solution, you will be able to find your pending product into PMS in support of the electronic application form for variation, so this specific purpose. You need to wait, Jen.
Thank you, Veronica.
Thank you.
Okay, so next one is, when do you predict that PLM will be used to submit eAFs, if ever? By submit, I mean to directly send eAFs without exporting them.
Good question. I wish I knew. This is, of course, something that we would all aspire to. It would be great if you could just submit it from there. Today, we would still need to think, how can we connect that particular eAF into the ECTD sequence that you're sending? Currently, the technology used behind the PLM portal doesn't allow the sending of those huge data packages of ECTD through the portal. Hence, we still have this somewhat disjointed process. But hopefully one day in future, you could send your ECTD or maybe even just the eAF through the system, and it would be neatly then linked into the ECTD package at some point. But unfortunately, we don't have any dates available for this, but this would be the ideal end goal.
Perfect, thank you. So next, can we submit the downloaded eAF without any signature?
Yes, currently, indeed, you can. EMA in general would like to, or my legal colleagues would like to see a signature in the application form. We have negotiated with them that for the time being, we don't need any signature. We are working on something called an integrity stamp, which would be a digital signature placed in the PDF rendition when you export it from the system, when you finalize the form. So this signature will be in the form automatically. However, additionally, if your company requires a signature, so not an EMA or not another regulatory agency's requirement, but if your internal processes require a signature, you can use a real digital signature, you can use an Adobe signature, or you can even include an image of a signature like you do today in the interactive PDF. But there is no need to do that. Of course, then some member states have requirements outside the system where they still need a wet signature in the application form. You can, of course, always print the PDF rendition, sign it the way you wish with the paper and pen, for example, and send that to the national competent authority that requires that. So there is flexibility, but currently there are no requirements.
Thank you. So next is for MRP DCP, does the person completing the form need to have affiliation to all affected MAH or RGs or just the RMS?
So this is, it depends on your internal processes. So some companies decide or have a process where there are few individuals who are affiliated to all different organizations and the MAHs. They fill in the form on behalf of all of these affiliates, and then the process is centralized. So this is one option. Alternatively, you can, of course, each affiliate can fill in their own products. So you would just invite them to co-author the form. So each affiliate, organization, user adds their own products. They may not be able to see the other products that have been added to the form, and they don't need to, but there are different, the form allows different user models. So it's important that you check the process in your company. So indeed, this may change how you fill in the forms within your organizations. So you might have very well established a way of filling in the forms with the interactive PDF, and this may completely change it. But you may have look at how do you want to affiliate the companies and have some super users who can see the data of all the products of different MAHs.
Thank you, Christina. So next question is, if we send the eAF to be signed to countries, do we then need to re-upload it in the system?
No, you don't need to. So in fact, you do not sign the form inside the PLM portal. You click the finalize button once you are completely finished with the form. This will create an export. With that exported form, so you don't actually sign inside the PLM portal, you export, you get a PDF rendition, and you sign that PDF rendition if you wish to do so. But you don't need to put the signed version in the PLM portal at all. You would include it in your ECTD sequence and send that to the relevant regulator. But as I mentioned earlier, there is currently no signature requirements.
Thank you. So next one, is it possible as a consultant to register to the portal with my own credentials and fill in an eAF on behalf of the applicant and MNH's same mother company for each country?
Yes. So this is something very important. So if you are working on behalf of other companies, you will need to be affiliated to that company in IAM. So our EMA account management system, you will need to put in a request to affiliate you to a different company, and then you will see all these products of these different companies and you can fill it in. So indeed, you should always log into the system with your own credentials, not the credentials of a colleague from that marketing authorization holder. That is not ideal. But log in with your own user credentials. But in order to do that, you need to be affiliated. Otherwise, you won't see the products. There are instructions in the registration guide on how to do this if you are a consultant, for example.
Thank you, Christina. Yes, you can find also the list of documents that can help you in the slides that we published for last week training. And in general, if you go on the submission portal, you can see it on the PLM portal as well. So if you need support with documents, please go to these sites. Okay, then we have, can we see July 2025 for mandatory use of eAF web forms for non-CAPs?
I would say that would be very ambitious timeline. I would not dare to commit. So we will move to strongly recommended use from 1st of January 2025. We will need to implement some changes, and of course we may have unknown number of other requirements which will be communicated to us through users who are now familiarizing themselves with the system. So, of course, when you start filling in the form, please look at the list of known issues. Don't tell us about the known issues. We know about them, but there may be other issues. where we're simply not aware that there's something stopping you from filling in that form, then those are the issues that we would like you to report to us by email until end of this year, or of course you can do that still early next year. But when we move to the strongly recommended use, and then you have an issue, of course you can then start raising service desk tickets. But then if there are a lot of issues, we will need to address those issues before we can start the user acceptance testing, the transitional period, and mandatory use. So I must say, I cannot see that we would be ready for mandatory use in July.
Thank you, Christina. So the next question says that the recording of the previous session is not available yet. That is correct. It will be available hopefully by the end of today, if not on Monday. So it is not available yet. That's correct, but it will be available soon. So next question is, if one country, for example, Poland or Greece, needs to translate the eAF in their own language, do we need to re-upload the eAF in Greek or Polish in the portal?
No, that would not be possible. So the form is in fact in English. The product name, the product full name appears in the language of the XEVMPD entry. So if you are using Cyrillic characters for the product name for the application forms in Greece, it is displayed like that in the PDF, but only the full product name. The other fields are in English. There are, of course, some fields where you can type, like in the present and proposed and the precise scope. If you decide to type in those fields in Greek or in Polish, absolutely possible, but the field names and things like that are in English, like in the interactive PDF. But there is no need to re-upload anything into the portal. So if you need to translate and provide something to the National Competent Authority, you can do that inside the ECTD.
Thank you, Christina. Next question is, sorry if it has already been covered, but is the PLM database and eAF relevant for parallel trading MAHs? Should parallel trade companies register?
I'm not sure if I fully understand the question. Veronica, are there do you know if parallel trading companies are submitting to XEVMPD with the...
I'm afraid I have no knowledge about that, but I'll come back and reply straight away in the Slido question. Thank you, colleagues. I'll check with XEVMPD colleagues.
Thank you, Veronica. But in general, the application form is used just the same way as you are using today the interactive PDF form, but you're just selecting the product. So there are a lot of benefits. But if, as a parallel trading MAH, you are using the interactive PDF for variations for your products, then this would be the same. But the PD feature, that is a separate process.
Okay, thanks. So only a few of our products are included in the PLM portal. NAPS. Is the data transfer for NAPS is still ongoing, or should we open a ticket at EMA?
I'm not sure.
Yeah, I can take this one because no, we completed the NAPS, the data loads of non-centrally authorized products, so not only national, DCP-MRP, at the end of September. So if you do not find anything, meaning you don't find the relevant products in PLM or in PMS API, please raise a ticket with us, because you should be able to see the relevant product entity with the relevant EV code for the product that you have submitted in XCVMPD, mapped one-to-one match. So if you don't find it, please raise an incident ticket in ServiceNow, and we can check. Thank you.
Thank you, Veronica.
Thank you.
So the next one is signaling an issue. So in Google browser, there is no issue with the page size, but Edge is not working properly.
It should work. I actually myself do all my testing using both browsers. So I do use Edge and I do use Chrome. I must say that for many things. I may personally prefer how the application behaves in Chrome. But of course, Edge is a Microsoft product, and the PLM portal is using Microsoft product on the background. So there shouldn't be any issues. If you do have issues, I would recommend that you take some screenshots and raise a service desk ticket.
Thank you, Christina. Next question is, can we already try to draft an eAF for non-CAPS products in PLM?
Absolutely, yes. And you are very, very strongly invited to do that. So even though I said you cannot yet submit it to the member states, it doesn't prevent you from going in there in the production environment of the PLM portal, create as many test eAFs as you like. If everything is perfect, so let's imagine you have a variation you want to submit next week. You need to, of course, fill in the interactive PDF, but please also go to the PLM portal, fill in the same application in the web-based form, just to test that you're able to do everything you need to do. And then, or you know that you have a variation coming up in January, you may already want to start filling in the application form in the PLM portal. Come January, you can just rename that application form and you can finalize it and submit it then using that web-based form. So there is a lot of benefits already starting to draft in the web-based form, so that you're very familiar with the form and how it works when we start the strongly recommended phase in January. Also, what is important, if you find any issues, you may find that you can't access your products. Now is a great time to then start solving those issues, why your products would not be available to you. Or if you find that a feature in the eAF that we have not listed in the known issues is not working, then you can report those to us.
Thank you, Christina. So next question is, can we already submit web form eAF for non-CAPS? Would the HA accept it? How can we test it if it works? So related to what you just said. Yes.
Yes. So indeed, you can fill it in, but you cannot submit to the authorities yet. If it's a mixed CAPNAP work sharing, you can submit it to the EMA, and of course it's the common form, so NCAs would see that same form. But let's imagine it's a variation for a product in Finland. Unfortunately, at this point, you cannot submit it to Finland. You have to use the interactive PDF, but you can test. You can do everything that you would do to the point that you finalize and export the form. Then you know how it works. You are more experienced come January, and you can start filling in and using the portal straight away.
Thank you, Christina. So next one is about the signature. So we talked about it a bit earlier, but we'll tackle this as well. So is it possible to electronically sign the web eAF in the same way as the current interactive eAF? So adding a screenshot, a paper print signature option doesn't sound feasible, sound old-fashioned.
Correct. So once you have exported the PDF rendition from the PLM portal, you have three options, maybe even more. So you can digitally sign it using an ADAS compliant digital signature. You can use an Adobe signature, or you can add a screenshot. If your company's internal processes require it, please note that the EMA does not currently require a signature. And what we understand from the NCAs also, there is no requirement for them to include a signature in the electronic version. Then, of course, they may have other signature requirements.
Okay.
I think we are out of time.
Yes, we are indeed. I wanted to take this last one, but yes, so we are out of time. Apologies. We'll try to answer these questions on the Slido. So don't worry if your question hasn't been answered yet. And yeah, Christina, I don't know if you want to say any few words
So thank you very much for participating. Thank you for your great questions. Would just like to highlight that we have upcoming sessions. So we have an NCA event on the 7th of November. We have another training and Q&A clinic on the human variation form aimed for industry. So here everybody's welcome, whether you are a CAP MAH or a non-CAP MAH, on Friday, 8th of November. And then we have another Q&A clinic on the 14th of November. This Slido will keep open for a couple of days, and we will include the responses in writing as well. So please feel free to add more questions. We will address those questions in writing, and we will then, of course, also publish the Q&As and also from the training session. So those you will find a lot of answers then from the PLM portal website later on, and we will try and address any questions also in guidance materials. But the slides are already also available from the training that took place last week, so please review the slides. You may find some answers from those slides as well. So thank you all, and we'll see you soon.